Yeah, certain facets of the Division 2 are totally busted right now. But that's not going to hold us back from testing things out, to give you the correct information so you can be better informed and know exactly what to expect. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is LtBuzzLitebeer, and I've been sitting here watching the public outrage at the game, especially after the swift 24-hour server shutdown to remove a free weapon from the Countdown vendor, which gave players an immediate and infinite source of credits, removing the weapon in that maintenance window, which brought down the hellfire in the Twitter comment section towards the devs for immediately patching out something that gave the players an advantage while not showing that same sense of urgency for most other known issues that are hurting the player experience. Really long-winded, I know. Anyways, what I am concentrating on today is something entirely different. I'm going to cut through the rumors and accusations, especially the one calling on Twitter for me to get banned as a glitcher. Yeah, anyways, thanks for all the continued support. Make sure to smash that big, beautiful subscribe button and ring the bell to stay up to date on all my latest uploads. Interesting testing going on in this one, so let's dive right in. To test all of this out, I again enlisted the help of Kamikaze Von Doom, and you've seen him here on my channel before, and links to his channel can be found in my video description below. And a big thanks for lending me the time and his recordings. Now, what I said about trying to test out today was the issues in the Dark Zone and the rumors that the current issues were entirely due to the Bulwark gear set. And while part of that is true, it is not the full story. Bulwark is only the primer for the bigger issue of invisibility. And I know there are multiple angles to this one, so let's first start off with non-invaded dark zones. Why these first? Well, because non-invaded DZs do have the added benefit of still having turrets at every entrance, and even if someone does manage to go invisible, the turrets will detect them once rogue and mow them down. So to start off this test, we first messed around while entering the Dark Zone not using Bulwark. For me, I kept going in and out of DZ West while wearing Heartbreaker and my Eclipse Protocol build, trying to pop a shield while entering, not using a shield while entering, and each and every time we tried this, absolutely nothing happened. It was as if the DZ was normal. Now, the moment one of us equipped Bulwark, all that changed. Probably old news to some of you, but we did test this out quite a bit, and there are some nuances you may not know about. First off is when someone does enter the DZ wearing Bulwark, their character model is shown halfway through the door while they run around for a bit before this invisibility period wears off. Kami and I are pretty confident this period of invisibility is down to a server desync issue. And by the way, all of our testing was done on PC, so if you're on consoles, even on last-gen consoles, this desync could take even longer than what we experienced. Now, while I was in the DZ, Kami could only see me halfway through the door, and he tested out trying to damage my character model while in the door. And through all of our testing and messing around, we did find out some interesting facts. First off, status effects, like the disorient from the Slayer, other gear set status effects, and even melee attacks do affect you. Now, while Kami was attacking my character in the door with both, even though I was well clear of where he was focusing his aggression, what I was receiving was the same. I became disoriented and took damage, though slight, from his melee. Now, once I fully synced into the Dark Zone, then bullets would affect me. Now, we also tested out the rogue mechanics in non-occupied DZs in a prior session, and the turrets will absolutely tear you a new one despite being glitched through the door. Sticking with the non-invaded Dark Zones, once the Bulwark set was equipped and we entered a few times back and forth, the instance was established. And this meant even when we switched off of Bulwark and over to a completely different gear set, that desync effect remained, and we would still appear halfway through the door despite not using Bulwark. Now, remember when I said Bulwark was only the primer? Here's what I'm talking about. Once that instance, let's call it a specific set of parameters, is met, all the other gear sets and DZ entrances are affected. The only way we found to reset the instance was to log completely off the game and reinsert ourselves back into the Dark Zone. Now, we didn't test it out, but we also theorized that a DZ server transfer would reset the instance and you would begin fresh with normal operations until Bulwark was re-equipped and you again entered the Dark Zone. And like I said, this could vary on last-gen consoles or consoles in general, but we again were seeing mid 1 minute desync times. So somewhere around 1 minute 30 seconds of full invisibility before reappearing, with or without bulwark equipped, as long as the instance was created, meaning we first entered wearing bulwark. So what can a player do if you're in the dark zone and trying to engage with the whole arena in a legit manner? Honestly, not much. Sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but just throwing down facts here. The non-invaded dark zones do offer the protection of the turrets, so if you feel that there is an invisible player using the bulwark desync, you could in theory hang out by the turrets until they reappear. Yeah, not fun, I agree. You also need to be wary of trying to extract anywhere close to a DZ entrance, which unfortunately is pretty much the entire damn dark zone due to these 3 smaller DZs, allowing for quick sprints to extraction points where someone could make it there still invisible and wreck your attempts to get out your loot. Maybe, and just a theory here, but maybe that's why the dev team decided to leave the targeted loot as non-contaminated and therefore goes directly into your backpack and requires no extraction. That way, even if an invisible player shows up and ganks your extraction, you only lose the contaminated gear that was in your fanny pack. Let's switch gears quickly over to the invaded dark zone, or the ODZ, which is a slightly different animal, as you will not have any of the safeguards of the turrets at checkpoints to guard against invisible players camping those areas. Again, we were seeing mid 1 minute 30 second invisible timers, of which we could literally stand right next to the entrances and wait, even while rogue. As long as the instance did not change, i.e. logging off or server transfers, the effects remained once the initial entrance was performed while wearing bulwark. And here's where the second issue comes into play, and that is bulwark itself. Now, once the gear set is paired with the Catharsis mask and the makeshift repairs talent is up and running, this gear set turns into a super tanky build. Probably all information you already knew about, but here's the thing. Bulwark is not truly invincible, just overly tanky. There are ways to get around the stack healing effects, demonstrated by Kami and his all-red DPS setup. We found that in order to drop one of these bulwark players, you have to hit them with so much DPS, it simply overwhelms the makeshift repairs talent and kills them before the Catharsis can drop the healing effects on the ground. Watch as I stand here and let Kami nail me with his Eagle Bearer all-red DPS build, and just look how quickly I fall to the ground. Easier said than done, I know, especially if the player were to move around and attempt to strafe, but it's still an option. So when someone shows up wearing this gear set at your extraction, and even if they have the gear set instance procced, you can still drop them, especially if they're attempting to cut the extraction rope, therefore making them stationary and allowing you to quickly line up those headshots. Also, if you can knock them off the Catharsis healing zones, it makes them more susceptible to incoming damage. Again, all possible, but really not easy to perform any of this. I know it's not the best news, but at least now you have a more informed approach to what is going on. Bulwark starts the whole desync issues, but once established, it therefore applies to all gear sets equipped until that instance is broken. Bulwark players can be dropped, but you have to counter them with a full DPS build to overwhelm their healing with such a massive burst of damage. Drop me your comments and I will do my best to respond. Remember to hit that sub button and ring the bell to receive all my future upload alerts. If you could take a moment more to rate and or share this video, it would be greatly appreciated. Remember, you can find and follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, and on my community Discord server. Links to all my socials can be found in the video description and pinned comments below. Thanks again to Kamikaze Von Doom. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.